So when I'm graphing this, this is standard form. I add the 0 there. So my vertex is going to be negative 1, 0. So there's my vertex. When I do my chart, it's important you put the vertex in the middle. Count down, count up. 0 plus 1 is 1, 1 squared is 1. 1 plus 1 is 2, 2 squared is 4. And we have to be symmetric, so we have the same points on the other side. So in this case here, 0, 1, 1, 4. Negative 2, 1. Negative 3, 4. And then I'm drawing my graph. Okay. Now, so you know I'm going to try and draw that graph just a little bit neater. Try and draw that one more time so I hit the points exactly where I'm supposed to. There we go. That's a little bit better. Okay. Now the second one, I've got to use my negative b over 2x. So that's negative 4 over 2 times negative 1, which is a negative 2. And when I plug negative 2 in for x, this becomes a negative 2 plus 8 plus 1, which is 5. So my new vertex here, negative 2, 5. Now, you can find your points different ways here. If we do the chart's a little harder with this type of problem, but it can certainly still be done if you want to be exact. You count up by 2, you count down by 2. All right? If I plug negative 1 in here, negative 1 squared is 1, so it's a negative 1. Negative 4 times negative 1 is 4. Negative 1 is 4 is 3. 3 and 1 is 4. So that's 4, that's 4. If I plug 0 in for x, that's an easy one. That's just 1. So when I plot those points, negative 4, 1. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. Negative 3, 4. There it is. Negative 2, 5, which is my vertex. Negative 1, 5, and 0, negative 1. And here's my graph. And essentially, I'm looking for points of intersection. So the answer here is going to be negative 3, 4, and 0, 1. The answer to this system will always be where the lines intersect. Okay. When you're asked to solve by factoring with the difference or sum of two cubes, we have to use the formula. In this case, we're going to use the difference of two cubes formula, which is a minus b, a squared plus ab plus b squared, following same, opposite, always positive. My a term here, what's the cube root of 64x cubed? 4x. My b term here, what's the cube root of 125? It's 5. So the factoring answer is simply going to be 4x minus 5, 16x squared, plus 20x, plus 25. If they want you to find the zeros, you can set this equal to 0. This one's easy. If you need the other two zeros, because it's an x cubed, we've got to use quadratic formula for the 16x squared plus 20x plus 25. This becomes negative 20 plus or minus 20 squared minus 4 times 16 times 25 over 2 times 16. Now, since most classes are going to let you use a calculator, how big the numbers are in a lot of ways is going to be irrelevant. Okay? So in this case here, we'll use our calculator. We have negative 20 plus or minus 20 squared is 400. Minus 4 times 16 times 25 is minus 1600. All over 32. So we get negative 20 plus or minus negative 1200. Now, yeah, you got to simplify that. 2 and 600. 2 and 300. 2 and 150. 2 and 75. 3 and 25. 5 and 5. Pair of 2s, pair of 2s, pair of 5s. 2 times 2 is 4, times 5 is 20. This becomes 20 I root 3. So I'm going to scroll this down a little bit more. Negative 20 plus or minus 20 I root 3 over 32. And then if you can divide it, you can. You try and simplify. 20 over 32 reduces to negative 5/8 plus or minus 5/8 I root 3. That's your answer. Chances are on the test, the number will be a little bit smaller for you to work with. Okay, in fact, I can pretty much guarantee you that. When you have an x to the fourth and an x squared, we're literally factoring like normal, except it's just x squared. And then we set each parenthesis equal to 0. And now we're not just solving for x, we're solving for x squared. If I subtract 9 on both sides, the square root of x squared and the square root of negative 9. The square root of x squared is x. The square root of 9 is 3, so the square root of negative 9 is plus or minus 3i. Here I add 2 to both sides, and now I got to take the square root of x squared and the square root of 2. So my x equals plus or minus root 2. And that's your answer. Okay.